Sorry, James Madison and Miss White. Listen, Miss Madison. All right, I'm gonna just get it.
So that was Lizzo playing a flute made of crystal. It's apparently 2 centuries old. It was one point owned by James Madison. And I feel sure that not a single person watching this knew that that flute existed yesterday. And the vast, vast majority of you will forget it by next week. But in this brief period where people will now know that this thing exists, that provides an opening for very fragile conservative white men to freak out about the fact that Lizzo just did that. And so I want to spotlight a few of these men. The Colombian Bugle put out a tweet saying, a humiliation ritual. They don't care about our history. They just want to mock and defile it. Calm down. You definitely didn't know that this flute existed. But I love they don't care about our history. Hey, Columbia Bugle, who's the they in that sentence? Would you like to define the they? Who's the our in that? How are you being humiliated by a woman who plays the flute professionally playing the flute? How exactly is that a humiliation? Do you have an issue with the music that she played? Because it seemed pretty flute-like to me. They just want to mock and defile it by playing it. I got news for you. It's the flute of a slave owner, okay? I don't know how much respect we need to put on it at this point, but the fact that a musician played it seems like a particularly poor way to mock and defile it. We've got way more triggered tweets that we're gonna get to, Caroline, but what do you think about Lizzo's performance there?
I think it's so beautiful. She's being so respectful. You can tell she's a little nervous and trying to use this opportunity well, but she's just engaging and respecting these artifacts that are bringing them into a cultural conversation. And it's just racism is evil, but it's also so boring. You're gonna be mad that a pop star is talented?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Very few pop stars can play instruments or can actually sing very well live. And we have one of the most famous women who is not only an incredible performer, musician, but also is interested in engaging with this history of this random flute.
Yeah, and was apparently approached. She didn't go and take it like it was national treasure. She was approached by them to do it. Yeah, and she's playing. Oh, I see. She shook her butt a little bit. I guess what is this? What are we back in the days of Elvis shaking his hips and we're gonna freak out about it? What decade is it at this point, honestly? So let's see. Oron McIntyre says the humiliation is the point. Have you stopped to consider the possibility that you could just not be humiliated and then you would have dodged the point? You chose to be humiliated. I guess that's the point. Pedro Gonzalez says, the thing that is obvious but people don't want to say is that this is about humiliating white people, about desecrating American history and heritage. That's what you do when you're a conqueror. Humiliate the conquered. Have you been conquered by Lizzo? Did I miss it? Did Lizzo take a battleship up onto the coast of DC and then just leap out and start laying about its soldiers and take over the whole thing? She's a musician doing a musical performance. Why have you been conquered by a video? And then
they're acting like she broke the flute. She
didn't do a mic drop.
She played the flute. She didn't smash it on the ground or anything. Yeah.
Exactly. No, the whole now I understand. Hopefully this won't go too much farther. We don't have time to play OAN. They lost their minds in a video. They asserted that it was narrow playing while Rome burned. Lizzo is not the president, okay? That would be cool. I would be down for a little bit of that, but she's not Joe Biden. You this, when they spent literally years talking about how easily triggered the left is and how they need a safe space and everything, it was never anything but projection. These are people who feel comfortable in a very narrowly defined cultural context and need to be shielded at all costs by everything else. A little bit of dancing that isn't the way they like, a little bit of flute that isn't the way that they like. Because if they're exposed to that, they will literally fall apart. And it's not lost on me that most of these people freaking out are men. Their fragile masculinity is so pathetic. You have not been conquered by Lizzo. You've been conquered by Tucker Carlson. You've been conquered by Jordan Peterson. And they have gotten you to accept a version of masculinity that is humiliating for you. But it's up to you to free yourself of those shackles that have been placed on you by pathetic right-wing men.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.